Well, most of us know that in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth was without form and void. Darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. Well, the given topic this evening is Israel being separate from the rest of the world. A couple of reasons why is because they were chosen and formed by God. The text I read was very familiar to you all, I know. It's Genesis 1:1-4. And in the 4th verse, it said God separated or divided the light from the darkness. Notice, however, that God separated what was different. He didn't separate what was the same. The same is true with the Israelites. God separated them from what would be a bad influence to them. God separated them. God separates only what needs to be separated. If the light and the darkness didn't need to be parted, then God He wouldn't have separated them. Israel was indeed chosen by God, so it made sense because of the few believing people in their day that they were to be apart from others. If they were exposed to what was different, they could very easily backslide. The same is true with the church today. They work hard. They strive to stay away from the world and its influences. When something is separate, it means it's different or contrasted from its surroundings. If you go hunting in a bright orange outfit and a jukebox, you probably won't be coming home with any deer. I mean, that's obvious. But it's a whole different story if you go with a camouflage outfit, gun, and you're quiet. It's almost guaranteed that animals won't see you. When you wear the orange outfit in the dark woods, you're contrasted. So the deer whatever you're hunting would sense trouble and run away. When you have the camouflage, you blend in, and when you stand out, it's harder for you to lure a deer into a trap. We want to go in orange and go with iPods playing the truth, like the Bible, so we can give an example to those around us. Another reason God separated Israel is because the rest of the world would be condemned. If Israel weren't chosen and separated, they had to be separated, or else they would have been condemned with the rest of the world. God saved them from the wrath to come upon their enemies. The church has been saved from wrath. If they were not, they would hear that wicked and slothful servant and be cast in the lake of fire. God separates his people so that they would be away from bad influences, as I've already said, so that they would not be condemned with the rest of the world, so that their conversation would be in heaven, and so that they would be able to understand the things of God in height, depth, length, and breadth. God separated us from the world because we could fall into its ways. The only way we could is if we were influenced and chose to do it. When you backslide, you realize that it was your choice, and you could have resisted the thought and intent of doing so. But when you choose not to, remember what Paul said in Romans 8:31, "If God be for us, who can be against us?" If we aren't influenced by the world, we will not be like it. God keeps us pure and undefiled so we won't be cut off. When we're not cut off, we can understand in all these dimensions, height, depth, length, and breadth, the things of God. And when we can, our conversation is in heaven. God separated us for a people unto himself. But in order to do that, he had to purify and sanctify us for his purpose. God won't make us clean for nothing. There's always something intended for us to do. When we finish our first work that we've been assigned, so to speak, we will get a bigger job. But we can be faithful and trust that we can do it because God will not give us anything that we can't bear. We are purified, so it should make sense that we are working in a sanctified realm. This can encourage us to keep resisting the things that aren't true. And when we don't, we will be sent away from the throne of God. If we are defiled and have no wedding garment, we will be cast out, and there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. James 1:27. Pure religion and undefiled before God and the Father is this, to visit the fatherless and the widows in their affliction, and to keep himself unspotted from the world. In the latter part of this verse, it says that we are to keep ourselves unspotted from the world. First of all, we realize that we can't do this on our own. God has to help us do this. Satan's tactics would overcome us if we didn't have God on our side. Second of all, we have to work out our own salvation. If we just lay back, relax, and say, "Well, I don't have to do anything. God will help me, and I don't have to do anything in this," it won't work. As a matter of fact, that's to start Satan's plan, to get you laid back and think that you don't have to do anything. You have to give your best effort for God to help you. So in conclusion, I encourage you, brethren, to use the shield of faith and oppose the wiles of the devil. You can stand in the evil day if you love God. And when you love God, you are separate from the world.